Frank, obviously, Mike had a huge game, really doing everything that he needed to do. Just how special was that to see him on his senior night to play that well?
Yeah, I respect seniors. Seniors on senior night is really hard because there's so much emotion going on, and it's really hard as a player. I've been a part of some senior nights where guys didn't play real well because it's just a difficult night, man. It's seniors go. They leave so much on that court for 4 years that they know they're probably never playing on that court again. So, but I thought Mike started a little slow. I thought Perry went right at him to start the game. I didn't think Mike came up with some rebounds that he needed to get, but give him credit. He, it's what it's all about. College. If you're a college coach, you coach to see guys like my coach are. That's what it's all about. I'm real proud of him.
Defense has kind of been a struggle the last few games. How do you feel like the team played tonight, coming off, I guess, 3 or 4 bad defensive performances?
Yeah, I thought we were pretty good defensively. First 12 minutes or so of the first half, and then we got a little foul trouble at the guard spot, and we started slipping, and we missed some shots. I mean, we didn't turn it over coming down the stretch in the first half, but we missed opportunities. We had several offensive rebounds that they're right there to get, and we can't get them. Mike missed 2 or 3 of his little jump shots that he's pretty good with. He just all in that stretch. If you score, you kind of hold the lead, and then you don't leak oil as fast as we started leaking there in the first half. But Mississippi State's good. And they're in the middle of this thing, and they've got older guys, and we built that lead. They didn't flinch. They kept coming, and for our young guys to respond how they did to open the second half, and especially defense, we played probably as well as we've played offensively from a structural standpoint today. And that allowed our defense to set a lot. And I thought we battled defensively today. I wish we'd have battled like that a couple days ago.
How big was it to get kind of those bursts from Jalen Wildens and Alonzo at different points? It seems like they kind of would come with a big basket here and there to stop that leaking oil, as you kind of said.
Yeah, I wasn't taking my coach out of the game today unless I absolutely had to. And if I was going to take him out, it was going to be the rest of the minute, right around a media timeout or something. And so that was our 3-headed monster for the other spot. And last time we played, we didn't have Jalen. And Jalen, it's like Chris Silva all over again when Chris was a freshman. Just I have no idea what he's going to do, none. But he gives us a toughness at the rim that when you're down him, you really don't have it. And then Wildens gave us some offensive rebounding and putbacks and a defensive presence. They tried to go dunk a couple balls, and Wildens protected the rim. And that's Alonzo's got to learn. Alonzo, he's learning to play harder, and when he does that, he impacts the team for us in a positive way. But as soon as he gets a little winded, it's over. And that's his next step as a player, and that's hard to fix like now. That's something that's going to have to continue to happen over time as he continues to grow as a player. But those 3 guys all did their part to help us win today.
Frank, you guys are back in a tie, at least right now, with Florida for a top 4 spot. Just how big is that opportunity that it's out there now that you could get that double bye in the SEC tournament?
Dave, I don't know. I told you guys last year I'd like to coach on Saturday one time in this conference tournament, and we've played on Wednesdays, we've played on Thursdays, and we've lost on Fridays. And sometimes we entered the tournament on a Wednesday, and we've entered the tournament on Friday a whole lot lately. It'd be awesome. I mean, it'd be a great achievement to be able to say that you're a top 4 team again. I'm not one of those guys that I really don't sits around and says, "Can you believe they don't think we're any good?" I really don't care. But everyone keeps picking us every year in the bottom 3 of the league. I think these players deserve a lot of credit that we're in that conversation to possibly end up, top 4 or 5 in the league.
I don't think Jermaine came off the court in the second half, and he had 10 assists tonight, no turnovers. How instrumental was he in the offensive performance?
Yeah, he hadn't played well lately, and he gives us a toughness, a voice. He gives us a personality. I think I've said that, and he hadn't played as well lately. He's a freshman, and every game we've played lately is against a team that's fighting to either stay in the tournament or get in the tournament. That's how close every team we've played is to this whole deal. So he's dealing with that for the first time. So people are coming at us because that sense of urgency, that finish line is close for everybody. And he and I had a great conversation yesterday, and not a motivational, just a normal coach-player kind of talk. And he actually started practice. The first 15 minutes was ridiculously good. And he rolled his ankle, couldn't finish practice. That thing swole up immediately. He texted me last night. He says, "Don't worry about me. I'm good." And it's just who he is. And our trainer worked with him all night, treated the ankle. The swelling went down. The doctor saw him today. Range of motion was good. The strength was good. So they taped him, and he went. He's the, that Sindarius did the same thing. I don't know if you were around back then. I decided to play volleyball instead of practice because we had all these freshmen and we weren't winning, and they were playing really hard and we weren't good enough. And match point, he spiked the ball and landed on someone's foot, rolled his ankle. I'm saying I should have had loose ball drills instead of play volleyball. But we got on the plane and his ankle was as big as his table. Went to Auburn, played the whole game. Some guys are just like that, man. And Jermaine's like that.
Ben Howland compared playing your team to dental surgery. I'm curious what your take is on that when you hear coaches kind of compare in a positive way to root canals.
Yeah, that is a compliment from Ben. And the thing is that his teams are very difficult to play against because they're so physical, and they don't run away from contact. Some teams, physicality isn't part of how they play. And that's fine. Everyone's different, but Ben's teams are very physical. I don't know. I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled at once, and I developed. 2 days later, I had to go play golf because I had committed to an event, and then after the golf outing, I had to go recruiting that night, and I developed dry socket. So. I was in a Courtyard Marriott staring at the ceiling all night, and it's the most painful thing I've ever experienced. And I've had pain in my life, but that one got me. So if playing us hurts that bad, we need to keep playing that way. That was not fun.
Mike admittedly last year said he was lacking in confidence. Different story this year. What was your role in this offseason leading into this year to help him, or did you just let him figure it out on his own?
He and I had a great conversation where there were still maybe 2 weeks left in the season last year, Reggie. And by the way, I thought you had retired. I hadn't seen you in a while, but welcome back. But I've never felt worse for a player than I did for him after I spent that day with him late last year. Because he was at a place where he had lost all faith in himself. And so the whole off season was about building him back up, and he did all the work. I mean, we do our part as coaches, and we try to help and teach. And, I say this all the time, I might be loud and all that, but I'm not cutting people down. I'm trying to build them up. And but give him all the credit. Reggie, you ask him, because the stuff he shares with me privately, I don't feel I need to tell the world. That's if he wants to share it. But his family helped him a lot in the off season. They gave him some advice on some things to do. And did you ever think, Reggie? I know you haven't been around for a while here, but since you got back here tonight, did you ever think you see Mike Kotsar dunking alley-oops? That's how confident he's playing right now. I got mad at him because he kept taking that open 17-foot jump shot because I wanted him to, because Perry had 4 fouls, and I wanted him to drive Perry. Then the timeout ended, and I was like, Frank, the guy's like made 60% of those shots this year. Just shut up. Let him keep shooting. You know, it's so he's awesome, man. He's a great teammate. Been a great teammate since the day he got here.
And then, Coach, kind of going off of that, you look at all the different ways that Mike has grown from his freshman year to now. In what way do you think this team is going to miss him the most when you look ahead to next year?
Who he is every single day. Like, he comes to practice, and he learned it from Sindarius and Sin, and then now he does it. Never comes out of practice. If I don't tell him to get out, Mike, go stand on the side, help the young guys that don't know their names right now. Help them. But he just doesn't come out. Who he is every single day. Even in that difficult moment I spoke about last year, that was in private between he and I. When we practiced later on that day, no one on the team would have known that he was battling himself, because he's a joy to be around. You know what? He's too nice a kid. And he's a man now. I keep calling them kids because you meet them when they're 17, 18 years old. But he's a man. He's too nice. You know, but that niceness, that spirit, that's what we're going to miss. You know, it's the points, the rebounds. Someone else figures out how to score and how to pass and rebound. That's just the way the world works. But that spirit that he brings, that uplifting spirit that he brings every day, win, lose, whether he plays well, doesn't play well, he brings that positive enthusiasm in there every single day. And that's when guys like him end up playing the way he's played this year, that's the way it should work, because he's a great human being.
A little off topic, and I probably should have asked this Monday, but the ACC and Big Ten are proposing a one-time transfer rule for players. I'm just curious your thoughts on that, especially in college basketball. There's so many every offseason.
College basketball is different than all the other team sports. We just want to get lumped into we got a one-and-done rule. Every other team sport doesn't have that rule. So we battle one-and-dones. I'm for transfers, okay? I was a transfer. I say this all the time. Divorce is perfectly legal in this country, and everyone still, for the most part, tries to get along and divorce. But I don't think we should have free agency. I'll give you an example, okay? Can you imagine when I got hired here, we worked our tails off to sign Sindarius Thornwell, okay? A year later, Kentucky, and I said this to Cal earlier today, so I'm going to share it publicly. A year later, Kentucky loses their 6 first-round picks. Sindarius turns around and goes and transfers to Kentucky, and now he plays for them, comes back in here, kicks our tail. I'm getting fired the following year. That's what we're getting to. We're always worried about the guy that transfers. How about the team that's left behind? Isn't this about building people, learning how to coexist? It's not about individuals being great in their own journey on their own. It's about team sports. And in our sport, we got the one and done, which is a different dynamic. It's something that we have to manage. Okay, this is what happens. We have to manage this with every player that signs to South Carolina and every other Power 5 school. They come here thinking they're a one and done. That's how these kids think, and that's the way they've been programmed. I'm not anti that. I wish they were all one and done so they can all go make $1 gazillion and provide for their families, all right? But when they show up to college that freshman year and they don't play 27 minutes a game and it's a lot harder than they were told it was going to be, they're disgruntled. So you know what they do? They turn around and transfer and go to the next school, and they never grew as a person. I thought we're in college education about teaching young people to understand how to deal with adversity, how to deal with all the stuff that comes their way. Am I saying they shouldn't transfer? That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think free agency is the answer either. I'm not for the waivers. I'm on the board. I sit there and I argue this till I'm blue in the face. I'm not for the waivers. It's I'm gonna mess this up. It's too subjective. Is that the right word? Yeah, you guys. I'm the math guy. You guys are the English guys. It's too subjective. I'm not for the waivers. I think we got to eliminate waivers. It's my opinion, but I don't know if free agency is the way to go, man. Who builds a program? You know, if everyone stayed for 3 years, and Kentucky keeps their guys for 3 years, and everyone else that has one and dones keep their guys for 3 years, you're limited on transfers. How about the smaller schools? Can you imagine? Winthrop just won their league. So their best freshman, who I recruited out of high school, can you imagine what would he do? He'd turn around and transfer next year to go to a high major school and play right away. You think that'd be good for college basketball? It doesn't make sense. So we got to figure that one out, you know? Appreciate you guys.